Your host, Dan Celia.
Good morning. Welcome back to Financial Issues. My name's Dan Celia. It's great to be here. As always, of course, yesterday was a holiday in the market, so we'll see right now all the markets are scheduled to open in positive territory. Not much economic news coming out this week, as I talked about yesterday. Very, very little. As a matter of fact, nothing really until Thursday. Some economic news coming out of Europe and China that is driving the markets to a little bit of a positive gain, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. And we are going to queue your call-ups, of course, and we will get to your questions at 866-300-9298. Now, as we are going to try to do every Monday, but yesterday being a holiday, we're going to have Sandy Rios, AFA's government affairs expert, and Sandy, of course, having her ear to the steps of Capitol Hill. I try to keep my ear on Wall Street and Main Street, and we're going to get some insights from Sandy Rios. All of you know Sandy, unless you listen to us or watch us on Biz TV or one of the other radio networks. Sandy Rios can be heard every morning an hour before me right here on AFR Talk. And if you can't get AFR Talk, there's an app for that in your app store. And you can download the app at AFR. It's AFR Talk app, and you can listen to Sandy. If you want to be well informed and hear the right side of the issues, I don't mean right as in right-winged, I mean right as in true and correct side of the issues, you can tune into Sandy every morning. I hope you'll do that. Sandy's with us. Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm doing very well, especially considering that we have all this anticipation of snow in Washington, D.C. Did you hear what I said? I need to repeat for your audience, just because they care about money,
yes,
that my husband is a retired FBI agent who now works for the FBI as a contractor, got up, went to work this morning, and guess what, Dan?
They shut it down.
They shut it down because we're expecting snow at noon. There's no snow anywhere.
Well,
but the federal workers are off today.
I know. It has started here in Philadelphia, which also is shut down. The snow has started. We're expecting about a foot. But it is interesting. And you being from Chicago have to laugh over this. My daughter lives in North Carolina, and she says the school shut down for a week if they get an inch of snow. So she laughs about that. So
I just got back from Chicago, and actually they are having the coldest winter they've had in decades, and they're calling themselves Chiberia.
Well, it's cold in Chicago without breaking records all the time. So, yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's cold in the winter, that's for sure. But just your federal dollars at work today here in D.C. That's the point I was trying to make.
And that's good news for all of us. It's one less day of dysfunction.
Well, if you're willing to pay the price of all these people not working.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I'll gladly go to my tax. Well, they don't work anyway, so I shouldn't say that. Sounds like a horrible generalization statement. But, the dysfunction, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that might pay for them to just stay at home and let things be, particularly as far as the economy goes.
Yeah,
but,
all right. I'm with you.
Sandy, last week, I had Senator Johnson on the program, and I wanted to get your opinion about something. I have an opinion about it, obviously, but not one that is as close to having my ear to these things as you might. If you don't mind, let me just play you a clip first of if you believe, if there are members of Congress that believe that this. Okay, so let me just play you a clip of Mike Lee and Johnson, what they said about the president, a little 30-second clip. Okay. And then I want to play you another clip from my interview and get your opinion on it. Go ahead, Devin.
In some cases, you can tell where the center of gravity is on the court. And today, the center of gravity was rather clearly against the president. Yeah. And that's for the simple reason that the text of the Constitution is plainly against the president. There certainly is a level of lawlessness. There is a significant rate here of this president trying to convert our government into a government of one.
This president, across the board, is pretty well just ignoring his constitutional duty, his oath of office, to faithfully execute the law.
So I reminded Senator Johnson of, that was him, the last statement there, that this is just two that are openly, this story with Johnson filing the lawsuit. These are just two of them openly admitting that this is a president that continues to break the law. And so I asked the senator this. Go ahead, Devin. If you believe, if there are members of Congress that believe that this president has broken the law, that there's been an abuse of power, that he's ignoring his constitutional oath, which I certainly believe, why aren't we pushing for impeachment? Why can't we go there? Or why won't we go there?
Yeah, we could, Dan, but take a look at the political realities. In order to actually be successful with that, you could potentially, do that in the House. It would die in the Senate.
Yeah.
So in the end, it would have, I don't believe, it would be successful. So, I mean, again, I'm coming from the business world. I've done a lot of strategic planning.
Just stop it there, Devin, because the rest of it we don't need.
Around goals.
So here's the thing, Sandy. Here's the problem I have. They know he's breaking the law. They know there's abuse of power going on. And everything comes out, and I have this conversation with everybody I have on this program, it seems, that we're so consumed, and I said this, if we'd have kept on listening, I said this to Senator Johnson. That's the problem. You guys are so worried about winning the political war that you won't wage a battle, that every American is getting tired of sitting on the sidelines while we refuse to wage battle. And I've had this conversation I had this conversation with so many other congressmen and senators. And, they all say, well, we can't, Senator, Oklahoma. Jeez, that's
Colburn?
Yeah, Senator Colburn. I had to interrupt him, and I said, excuse me, Senator, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, you can't get any support from the media. He said, well, it's true, Dan. I said, it doesn't. Do you understand that we need to wage a battle? Whether we lose every battle, we can still win the war. Thankfully, George Washington wasn't worried about winning every battle and continued to be persistent. Why is it? Why is this whole idea of impeachment, what are they really afraid of?
Loss of their own personal power. It's really not as complex as it seems, Dan. I mean, this is the fight we're fighting all the time. And let me go back and give it some context. When President Obama was reelected in 2012, there was a tremendous browbeating and moaning in Republican circles. And one of the things that came from that, many things did, of course, that, so-called autopsy report, that we should distance ourselves from conservatives, those icky social issues, et cetera. And there's an active attempt even now to pour millions of dollars into primaries to make sure conservative candidates don't win. That's happening by leadership in the House and the Senate. Republican leadership. The Chamber of Commerce is cooperating with this because we don't want any of those nasty Tea Party awful types. So there's a real thought that they cannot criticize. I don't know if I finished that. My point. The other point was that they told each other that in future conversations after the election, they should not criticize President Obama. That actually started after he was elected the first time. Don't ever say anything bad about President Obama. So if you'll notice, think back in time when Eric Cantor and others came out to make public the president. They never criticized him. Now, they are, in the last few years, I guess the year, over Obamacare, they've come out with stronger rhetoric. But prior to that, they would not say anything bad about the president because their consultants told them that was a mistake. So now, you're asking them to impeach him when they've been told not to even say bad things about him? All right, so that's part of it. They've got a whole culture of, don't dare say anything bad about him. But now they're getting bolder because of Obamacare. But secondly, Dan, when it came to Obamacare, which is even further down the list of concerns than the mismanagement, the abuse of power, the national security risk this president has placed us in, not to mention Obamacare. Recall that when Cruz led his 22-hour speech on the floor of the Senate, it was the Republicans that turned against him, that blamed him for the government shutdown, and were scared to death and remain scared to death to this moment. I can tell you firsthand, with conversations I've had, they will do anything not to shut down the government. They are so afraid of shutting down the government.
I know.
What makes you think they're going to find the courage to actually hold the president accountable? We are led by a bunch of men and some women who are so eager to keep their own personal power base that it's to heck with anything that affects the country at large. And they keep telling themselves, next election. They'd like to do it the easy way. They promise, well, if you guys will just do your part and come out and vote in 2014 and give us more power, then we'll do some right things. So that's where they are on this, Dan.
So are they so out of touch, which obviously they are, and I said this to Senator Johnson, that I said to him, you guys are so out of touch with your constituency that you don't even understand that they are ready for you to go to battle. You don't believe that. But you, Sandy, we have chances to travel around the country. I talk to my listeners at town hall meetings. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of conservative evangelicals for sure. And they're ready for battle. They know that the battle has to be fought. And yet our representative government is not representing.
I can give you an account of something that that happened last week. Without naming names. You know that the IRS is going after conservatives. I don't limit it to Tea Party. I think that serves the public perception. It's not just Tea Party. It was Franklin Graham. It was Christian organizations. Mm-hmm. So the IRS has now become a tool of this administration to punish enemies. Right. So now the IRS has issued these new rules. That will, and this is foreign language to people, but they'll understand the concept. These rules will likely destroy organizations like American Family Association Action, Family Research Council Action, Heritage Action, and the parent organization when they get around to rewriting rules for 501c3s. Basically, the rules would destroy our ability to function. That's all I can say without going into the weeds.
Right.
This is huge. This is a very big deal. Mm-hmm. I saw a high-ranking leader in the House I was in the room when he was confronted about this issue, and his response was, okay, let me go back. Last week, they passed a new omnibus bill, which I'm sure you talked about, Dan.
Yes, I did.
And in that negotiation, there was an attempt to get language in that omnibus bill to stop these new IRS regulations because they will destroy groups like ours. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans didn't fight over that. So the language, they were not willing to put up a fight over that, so the language did not get included. It was not stopped in the omnibus bill. So coming on the heels of that happening, this leader is asked, don't you understand this will destroy your base and our ability to fight? And so he tells us that the White House put enormous pressure on members of the House in negotiations on the omnibus. They would not negotiate on two issues, the conscience clause in Obamacare and these new IRS regulations governing organizations like ours. Those were non-negotiable. They will not budge. If they insisted on that, the government would be shut down. And guess what? The Republicans said. We can't, he said, in this meeting, the government would have been shut down. And then a person responding said, what difference does it make? You have to fight. It's going to destroy our organizations. And the response was just basically a shrug. So there we are, Dan. That's where we are with this.
Sandy, I sure appreciate you being with us, doing this every week for us. And I'll promo your program here as soon as I get out. When I come back. But I sure appreciate you, Sandy. Thank you so much for being with us.